Hello, everyone. This is Javier, and today I'm excited because I have an interview with my new mentor, the guy who, along with Jonathan Puga, is really going to help me turn my life around. The gentleman's name is Robert Hollis, and Robert, I'll let you introduce yourself. There you
Well,
go.
thank you, Javier, and I'm glad that we got a chance to know each other and get to know a little bit about each other. And I'm really looking forward to this interview. I just want you to feel free to ask me anything that you want. My goal is to help you and the people that watch this video just be able to understand a little more of how they have an entrepreneurial spirit within them, and I just want to get it out of there.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, well, I guess first of all, how did you get started in network marketing, and how long ago was it?
Well, believe it or not, it was 27 years ago, and I was just an auto mechanic. I didn't do very well in school, and so I just thought I would continue to work good with my hands. So I went to a trade school so I could make a little more money, and I was just a mechanic. So I just worked every day, trading time for money for hours and time, and it was like I just could never get ahead. It just never seemed where I had a little more month at the end of the money, as they say, and I just kept working and working and working. And it got to a point where I sort of lost passion for what I was doing. It was just like, I wasn't going to get any raises. I wasn't going to go any further in my career. I couldn't make any more money. So why work so dang hard? And so what happened is I got hurt on the job and got put on workman's comp. And all of a sudden, I started losing everything. So I tell people I became very open-minded because I was a single father. My son was at that time 6 years old. And all of a sudden a guy said, "Hey, I met this person that's making 62 grand a month, and you got to come meet him. He's expanding a company." And at the time, Javier, I just went, no one makes that kind of money. But that's sort of ridiculous because you think of people like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. These guys probably make 62 grand a second. They're billionaires. And so, so what I did is I went and met this guy. And for the first time, I had someone that shared with me a bunch of philosophies and paradigms and ideas that I've never heard of before. This concept of residual income and leverage and helping other people. I was always in a competitive industry where I didn't want to teach anybody what I knew because then they could take money away from me, right? And
Yeah.
so I allowed him to be my mentor and I listened to him, but at the same time, I put as many people as I could in front of him so he could teach them. And I made 258,000 my first year. That was 27 years ago. I went to 520, then 785, then over $1 million before I was 30. And now I've made over $43 million. I've helped 45 people now make over $1 million in one calendar year. In fact, 7 of them own their own company. And then people started asking me how I was doing this. And I really got to give a shout out to a guy named Eric Worre about 3 years ago. He asked me to speak on his stage at his GoPro event. And when I did, that was the first time that I ever spoke outside of my group or outside of my company. And so now I had people worldwide, Javier, that was going, hey, listen, could you please show me? Could you please tell me what you did? What exactly do you do? And that's when 3 years ago I decided to put, a lot of money and hours of training to train and inspire people with success in minutes. So, it's been a fun ride. Now I'm on my 52 years old. I want to, I got 45 people that made $1 million a year. I want that to be in the thousands and the tens of the thousands before I leave this planet.
All right. Great. Great. Um, I'm not going to ask you too much about your history because I've gone through. I know there you have a website, actually, what's it called, Robert Hollis Interviews,
Yes.
where there's several interviews, and I've gone through, and I feel like I know you better than you know yourself sometimes. Like anyway, so I'm going to kind of go through some questions that I'm going through the training right now,
Okay.
and I've gotten to a point because I'll tell you, I'm on day 17 of the training. And on day 17, the way you have the training set up is real step by step. You got to do this, move on to the next one. Bill Liebert is just fantastic at laying it all out.
Genius. Genius.
Okay, so I'm at day 17, finish everything on there, and then I can't go any further because it tells me I need to get 5 leads and 2 followers in the system. Now, can you tell me why you're doing that? Why you're actually forcing me to get leads? I think I know why, but tell me.
Absolutely. Great question. That question hasn't been asked yet. The reason why is we know that from day 17 to day 1, you got to learn to master that stuff to get the leads. Now, what a follower is a follower is someone that just starts going through the training exactly the way you did. So, you know, what we want people to do is take the little stuff that we know. So if a person was going to be like, say, an athlete, you know, and they wanted to play basketball, you know, the first thing that people are probably going to make them do is dribble. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I don't want to dribble. And it's like, well, so what? Trust me, you're going to want to learn to dribble by the time you become a professional basketball player. So, so that's the way we do it. And believe it or not, not that I'm doing a shameless plug here, but we do, when people become a pro in the company, we do open up the training to them to let them to go through it as fast and quick as they want to. But if a person's going to use the training for free, we do want them to say, hey, now, can you apply this stuff? Apply the stuff that we taught you in the first 17 days before we let you go on further. So great question.
Right. Yeah, and actually, when I did switch to pro, I noticed it opened up, but I was actually impressed with that you would force me to get leads, because that's the one thing I didn't have, and I needed leads.
Yes.
And so I'm not going to move forward until I get some leads.
Good.
So that's something that really helped me out. My next question would be, let's see, okay, I've been through several network marketing related webinars and training, and a lot of times, and what I hear sometimes, a lot of times, is they train you to be a leader. Imagine yourself as being the leader. Start branding yourself. Make yourself look like the authority. You know, don't be a leader. Now, I just got started. I don't want to fake it till I make it. You know, I want to make it so I don't have to fake it.
Excellent.
So, when you first started out in network marketing, did you brand yourself?
Absolutely not. It's amazing that I don't know where that came from. When I first got involved in the company, when I understood exactly what my mentor wanted me to do, is he said, listen, I'm the guy that's documented. Now, there comes a little bit of trust with this as far as a mentor to a student, right? And the concept is very simple, is if you're willing to edify and promote somebody else, no one, and I mean no one, could edify you better, Javier, than someone that's already documented. See, if I tell people that Javier is a leader, then everybody goes, Javier is a leader. But when we tell people that ourselves that we're a leader, you know, usually what they say right behind that is, well, who do you got following you? You know what I mean? And so me, when I figured out all I had to do is get excited about my future. If some people have done it, then I can do it. And I just put as many people in front of my mentor as I possibly could. I think I put like 70-some people in front of my mentor's videos in the first 30 days. And my check was over $10,000 my first 45 days in the company that I was with. Now, we're talking a company 27 years ago. Now, the key of that is once I got that first $10,000 check, and he started showing my other people that I introduced him to how to get that check, I mean, easily within their first 60 days. I was trying my best, Javier, not to be the deal, and I pulled it off for 18 months. So get this, I made almost $1 million in my first year and a half before I was 30, and I never did a presentation. I never did a three-way. I never did a training. I never did an introduction, and I never did a testimonial. And so all I did was use the $1 million question, got people excited, and put them in front of my mentor and said, I'm directly working with this guy. He's my mentor, and he's teaching me how. Now, my idea is that, you know, I finally, if people ask, well, why did you finally start stepping up? Well, I all of a sudden wanted to get to the next level. My checks had basically stayed about 15, 17,000, right in there they were staying. And I never forget that there was this new guy came in. His name was Rich. I'll never forget. And this guy went past my rank in 6 months. And I had been with the company 18 months. And I remember like yesterday, I said to my mentor, I said, wow, how did he get it so fast? And he said, well, now he's being credible, and so his group is putting people in front of him. And all he's doing is telling a story. And I said, well, what's his story? And he said, well, he'd been in the company for about 3 months, and he got his checks to about $10,000 a month. And I thought, well, I did it in 45 days. And he goes, yeah, but you didn't want to tell your story. Isn't that amazing? And so I tell people, you know, when you're ready to tell your story or show your checks, that's when you should be. You know, when you feel like your income on a consistent basis is impressive. Now, if you're working one-on-one with a mentor, ask him, ask her, you know, when do you think that I should step into a leadership role, or when do you think I should stand into a branding role? And believe it or not, Javier, it always happens before you think it will. See, if you get focused on doing nothing but putting people in front of an effective system, then wouldn't the company, if they were smart, and like say, you know, our company, if you started making $5,000, $6,000 a month, wouldn't you think that I would want to use you as a testimonial?
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So now I'm telling people how great you are, and that's when the magic happens.
All right. Okay. All right. So, and I know before this interview we had talked a little bit about the law of averages.
Right.
And I was going to ask you a question in related to that, but you just pretty much answered it. So, you know, and it was basically, you know, which you think is more important, having persuasive, you know, ad copy in your emails or your blog or whatever, or the law of averages. And
well, definitely the law of averages. And one of the things that I can share with you that I think is the biggest thing that people need to learn. If you could put a sticky note around yourself where you had to look at it all the time, and the question that you need to ask yourself is, what I'm doing duplicatable? Because there's 3 things that have to pop through a person's mind very quickly. Is one, wow, if this makes sense. You're looking at it and you're just going, wow, this really makes sense. And if it makes sense, it makes dollars. Okay. Second one is, this is easy. This is really easy. Everything that I've seen thus far is easy. And then the most important one is, you know what? I think I can do this. And so the best compliment you can get, Javier, when you're walking through a system, is someone looks at you and goes, Javier, now wait a minute. Are you telling me all you do is go through these groups, build relationships with people, and after you build a relationship, you tell them about the free training, so you give them something for free so they get to know, like, and trust you, and then you continue to build that relationship, and then they eventually upgrade? Yeah, I can do that. See what I mean? And so when you're talking about, you know, SEO and copyright and building capture pages and developing, you know, all that stuff, including a blog. Do you know that if it wasn't for Bill Ebert designing our customized blog, I would have never built one, because every time I tried to do it, it was too technical for me, and then I didn't know how to make it look nice, and then I didn't know how to do posts on it. So I went, I'm not doing this, because if I can't teach other people how to do it, then it's going to slow down my duplication process. Right.
And I loved it. I mean, when I saw that you guys had the blog and you guys populated it with content, you know, daily, I said yes, because you know, I need a blog. Everybody tells me get a blog and put content. I'm sure, but I don't have the time.
Right.
So I'm like, great. I'm going to leverage you guys and let you guys, you know, I'll put up something, but definitely that is a plus on that blog.
Thank you.
And here's a question. Now, when you launched Unlimited Profits and Success in Minutes, that was you and Bill Ebert, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You know, what I kind of noticed, and I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you anyway. Did you ever do like a joint venture launch where other branded, you know, well-known marketers would hop onto your system, and of course they've got a whole team, and then they have a testimony where we jumped on this and we made so much money. I made so many, you know, sign-ups in, you know, 1 month, 6,000, you know. And I see that often with several organizations that I've been with, they have the testimonial, but I'd recognize those guys from years ago when I dropped out of network marketing that they are well-branded people,
Right.
and their little testimony is a result of years of building a team that they can hop onto any joint venture and get that testimony. Did you guys do anything like that?
Absolutely not. The reason why is I knew relationship building. I built organizations of over 700,000 from just grassroots, people that never have been marketers, that have never made big money. And I still do that today. I don't go out and chase the big guys and the big ladies that can come in and be, explode and explode, and then they're off to the next deal.
I could make you a lot of money though, couldn't they?
Well, yeah, but I'm in a situation where money's not the issue for me anymore. And if I didn't make it duplicatable for the brand new person that gets in, I want, we got people that are 86 years old that are with us and that are making great money, and then we also got people that are 17 years old. You know what I mean? That have never ever been in the marketing world at all. And that's the people that I want to be able to take care of. Now, down the road, do I think that we're going to get exposed and there's going to be top marketers that are going to find out who we are? Yeah, I think that's going to happen. I really think that's going to happen. But I'm not seeking them out. I've had a number of people that have come to me asking me to do joint venture deals. And again, I want people like you to be the first people that exposes them. And here's why. I just have this belief, and I know that it's going to happen, Javier, where as we get going, your link, what you do is going to be the person that's going to lock onto one of those big guys. And so if you have 4 people, 4 pros, and then you lock onto one of those guys, and they bring in, 200 pros, 200 times 50, that's 10,000, and now they're making 10,000 a month, and so are you.
Yeah.
So I want to prove it with the little guy, because you always hear about these big guys that get to go in and do it, and then once they do it, they leave, and then everybody's like, I've heard some companies out there, without saying their names, where the big marketers have ruined their domain name where they can't even use that domain on Facebook.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's good. And that's good to hear. That's definitely good to hear for the new guys starting out. Okay. Next question. We've heard so much about the documentation. I have a question on the documentation.
Sure.
Where is it? If someone comes up to me and says, okay, yeah, this millionaire, yeah, you had this interview with him, he says he's documented, says it all the time, where is it? Where can I see it? Is there a website, some place where you can show me exactly where it is?
Yeah, there's two things that I'll say, and then the third one is sort of like the knockout punch. The first thing that they can do is just Google Robert Hollis. Now, I know that everybody that understands the internet today, you usually can find some good stuff and then some bad stuff. You're going to be surprised when you Google my name. If you put Robert Hollis in Google and do a space and put "show me the money," there's a big rumor out there, and it's a lie, that you can't show your checks. Ever since I've been in this profession, I've showed my checks. So you guys are going to be pretty staggered, because if you go out there, there's videos out there of me in different companies where I show you my documentation, and I just show you check after check after check after check. The second thing, when I wrote my book, How Is That Working? One of the things that you can do is really get in trouble if you publish a book and it goes bananas, and the stuff within the book's a lie. I don't know if you guys remember that Oprah Winfrey got in a little trouble where she promoted a guy that his book was called Million Little Pieces, and then come to find out that he was lying in the book. If you got a bunch of people that buy your book, and it could be for $1, and if you're not portraying your truth in that book, you're going to get in trouble. So in the book, I talk about 44 people I've helped make over $1 million. Now the last one is one of the very first interviews that I did. If you go, like you said, to roberthollisinterviews.com, what you're going to do is, if you scroll down the center, you're going to see a long interview, one of the first ones that I did with Jonathan Puga. And
Okay.
we knew that it would set the precedence of the rest of the interviews. So what he did is he basically said straight out, he said, Robert, you say you got 44. And I said, well, believe it or not, it's 45 now. And he goes, can you please tell me who they are? And I just go off and list them all. You know what I mean? I just tell each and every one of them. And now, believe it or not, Javier, these are only people that have come to me telling me that, you know, they've made $1 million in a year. They've documented it, and they thank me for doing it. I know there's a lot of other people out there through the lineage that I've built and other companies that, you know, have made $1 million a year that haven't, you know, haven't come to me and said, hey, thank you. So if I can't use them as stories, if they're not going to give me credit, I don't want any kind of problem there. But 7 of them actually own their own network marketing companies. You know, so if you think about a company, you know, one of the companies out there, I don't mind saying the name, is called ACN, American Communications Network. I think they're 22 years old. They're one of the companies in the Direct Selling Association last year that grew over $100 million in 1 year. And the owners of that company were people that I found off a girlfriend of one of them through a newspaper ad. And so I ran an ad. She didn't have any money. And she introduced me to her boyfriend that knew the rest of them, and I just moved right into their apartment and took them from zero to hero. And so it's neat to know that there's people out there that, you know, I mentored that are running, you know, $600 and $700 million companies. So now just think of that one thing right there. If I taught those people and helped them start a company, and that company continues to make millionaires after millionaires after millionaires after millionaires, you know, I can indirectly say I don't know how many people that I have that have not only made $1 million a year, but I don't have a clue of how many people that have made a full-time income.
Yeah. Okay.
So very blessed.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, you were talking about relationships and building relationships and how that's the way you like to do things.
Yes.
It almost seems contradictory when it gets started, where you say to get as many people as possible in front of you. You know, that almost seems like you're almost going against building relationships. How does that work together?
Well, it's actually 2 steps. It's actually 2 steps. The sorting process of saying as little as possible to as many people as you can and getting them in front of a video is something that everyone can do that's very, very simple. That's a sorting tool, not a selling tool. Once you sort them, Javier, and they end up into your contact manager, that's when the relationship starts. You see what I mean? So yeah. It's you're doing one, and then you're doing the other. Now, another thing that I teach in social media that's a little different is in social media, I actually teach people to build a rapport before they send them the link. You know, so great question. You just want to divide the two. Like when I was out doing cold market, you know, before cell phones, before internet, you know, I just made myself go out and talk to 50 to 70 people every other day, so that I could then call those people and edify and get those people in front of one of my mentors' videos. So see, I was saying as little as possible to as many people as I can. Then I was setting appointments going through that next point. And then once I got them in front of a video and they said, well, listen, what do you like most about what you've seen? And they go, man, I really like the money, or I really like helping people, or I really love this product. Then it was like all relationship building skills. Now I was, instead of trying to just get them on the bottom line and close them, that's when I wanted to know, hey, are you married? Do you have kids? What do you do for a job? Why don't you like it? How many hours do you have to spend? And that's when I really put together a game plan for them that we could do together, not them doing it alone, and get them a result and a check. Because, man, I'll tell you what, you get a check and your spouse is backing you. You don't get a check and it's like, oh my God, here's another one.
Where's the money going, dear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that leads into the next question. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of role playing, sort of. Okay, imagine you just met me,
okay,
and I come to you, and I've gone through the training, and I come to at this interview and I say, Robert Hollis, Mr. Hollis, Mr. Robert Hollis.
Robert.
I need, yeah, just say, I have to make $5,000 in the next 30 days. I'll do whatever you tell me to do, how you tell me to do it. I'll do it. Can you get me to $5,000 in 30 days? What would you say?
Yes, I can. And
Without
how I would
hesitation.
do that is it's all based on a simple game plan, like saying that I wanted you to fly to my home. You know what I mean? Or I wanted you to get to my home. Let's start with that. And I said, so Javier, you got to get here. So the very first thing that I would have to find out from you is what kind of resources that you have, right? So, of course, the first option would be to fly out here. But let's say that you don't have the money to do that. So the thing that I'm looking for you first to put the game plan together is how many hours you can spend a day, how much money do you have to build your business, and really honestly, what do you think your center of influence is? You know, do you have people that you know, would look at something just because you ask them? Now, here's the neat thing. If you don't have any of the three, I can still put a game plan together with you. We're just going to do another avenue. So now the first thing I do with people, you know, if you said, well, you know, 5,000, the very first thing I would do is sit down and do a game plan, you know, is I'm going to say, okay, so $5,000, you know, and in 1 month, we're going to divide that by 50. So you and I got to go out there, and let's say we got to bring in 100 pros.
Okay.
So we got to put in 100 pros. So now if you're looking in 30 days, you know, to bring in 100 people, you know, where we're talking, like 30 a day?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Is that right?
Okay, 30.
Let me see. Divided by 30. People are going, this guy makes money? No. That's 3 a day. That's 3 a day.
3 a day, there you go, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take 30, yeah.
So one thing that we got to do is understanding about what I know about the social network and other things. Then we're going to go and say, okay, if we got to get 3 a day, then that means that we got to at least expose this to maybe, you know, 15 people a day. See how fast this can happen? And so, so what I'm doing is if we know how to approach 15 people today to build a relationship with them and then get them in front of the video so they can become free members so we can build this rapport with them. And then as they go through the system, when you build a rapport, again, some are going to upgrade, some are going to stay free members, some people might start right in the center. But here's the other thing, is I also say to people, don't forget about the matching bonus. So now if we took 20 people, you know, so we take 20, we take that times 50, that's $1,000. And now out of 20 people, you basically have 6 matches, right? So if we took 6 people, I now got to take, I apologize, $4,000 that's left over. We're going to divide that by 6. That's $666. So let's just say 660. So 660 divided by 50, that's 13. So what we need to do is we can either get 100, or what we can do is immediately focus on getting 20 and making sure that we work with 6 of them to make sure that they each get 13 each.
Right.
And now you're going to make that on the bonuses. But then people go, well, how could you make sure that they got 13 each? Well, out of the 20, we're only working with 6 of them, and we want them to get to 13 each. Now, if they were each making $650 times 6, now you're making over 4,000 plus your 1,000, that's 5,000. So now what we can do is limit it one more time. We can say instead of going for 20, maybe we go for 40, and then we have 12 matches, right? So then instead of getting the 12 of them to get 13 each, we need 12 of them to each get 6.
Right.
So it's called reducing to the ridiculous. And I was taught this right at the beginning. So when I say to you, I'm going to figure out your skills. And I'm going, so Javier, tell me, do you think that we need to focus on getting you 100 this month? Or do we need to focus on getting you 40 and helping 12 people get a match? Or do you think we need to do 20 and let's help those 6 each get 13?
Okay.
What would you say?
I would say either the 40 or the 100.
Isn't that interesting? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to go against what you think that we can do. We're now going to
Okay.
focus on that 40 and making sure that those people each go out